when a snooty art gala director rejected a black artist's painting as unfit for their elite event. They had no idea she'd return the next day to buy the entire gallery, turning their snub into a stunning display of power and pride. Amara Evans, a 32-year-old painter from Harlem, submitted her vibrant masterpiece to a prestigious New York art gala, only to face a humiliating rejection laced with bias. But when she walked into the gallery the next morning with a deal that flipped the script, the art world's elite were left speechless. What unfolded wasn't just a purchase, it was a bold reclaiming of space, a moment of triumph that exposed prejudice and redefined success, leaving a legacy that shook the city's cultural core. Before we dive into this powerful story of resilience rising above prejudice, drop a comment below and let me know where you're watching from. If this tale of a woman turning rejection into revolution resonates with you, hit that like button and subscribe to Narratives of Black Struggles for more stories exposing the raw truths of racial inequity in America. Your support keeps these narratives alive. Picture a glittering New York gala, where champagne flows and art is currency, but one artist's vision is dismissed before it can shine. Amara Evans, armed with her talent and a fire no one could extinguish, steps into a world that underestimates her, unaware that her next move will rewrite the rules. Let's step into the story where it all begins. Amara Evans adjusted the strap of her canvas tote bag, its weight heavy with her portfolio, as she stepped out of the subway station onto Manhattan's Upper East Side on a crisp evening, June 4, 2025. The city hummed around her, taxis honking, streetlights flickering on, the air sharp with autumn's promise, and the faint scent of roasted chestnuts from a vendor's cart. At 32, Amara was a Harlem-born painter, her locks swept into an elegant updo, her deep brown eyes alight with determination, her burgundy dress hugging her frame, a thrift store find tailored to perfection. A silver cuff bracelet, a gift from her late grandmother, Zora, gleamed on her wrist, a reminder of her mantra, "Paint your truth, Amara. Let it burn bright." She was headed to the prestigious Ellison Gallery for the annual New York Art Gala, where her painting, Roots Rising, had been submitted for display, a chance to cement her name among the city's elite. But tonight, a routine submission would become a battleground, a test of her resilience, and a spark for a revolution. Roots Rising was Amara's masterpiece, a 6-foot canvas bursting with color, ochre roots curling upward, crimson figures dancing, gold sky swirling, a tribute to Harlem's spirit, her grandmother's stories, her own journey from a cramped apartment to galleries worldwide. She'd poured 6 months into it, blending acrylics and oils, embedding beads and fabric, its texture a pulse of history. Her work had shown in Brooklyn, Paris, Lagos, earning praise for its vitality and soul. But the Ellison Gala was different, a gateway to collectors, curators, the art world's gatekeepers. Amara had submitted Roots Rising weeks ago, her application meticulous, her CV listing solo shows, grants, a residency at the Studio Museum. She dreamed of this, Zora's voice in her ear. "Your art's a weapon, baby. Use it." Harlem, where Amara grew up, was grit and glory, jazz drifting from stoops, murals on brick walls, kids playing double dutch under streetlights. Her parents, a teacher and a bus driver, had stretched every dollar, but Zora, a seamstress and storyteller, had fueled Amara's fire, teaching her to sketch, to weave history into color. When Zora passed 5 years ago, Amara inherited her cuff and her courage, vowing to paint for those whose stories were erased. She'd hustled, waitressing, teaching art classes, selling prints online, building a career that now paid her rent, her studio, her dreams. The Ellison Gala was her next step, a chance to claim space in a world that often shut her out. The gallery loomed ahead, its glass facade glowing, a red carpet unfurling from marble steps, valets in black vests ushering guests in gowns and tuxedos. Banners proclaimed Ellison Art Gala 2025, celebrating vision, chandeliers visible through windows, casting prisms across the sidewalk. Amara smoothed her dress, her tote heavy, her portfolio inside, a backup in case the curator, Evelyn Caldwell, wanted to review. Caldwell, a white woman in her 50s, was the gala's gatekeeper, her taste dictating who shone and who faded. Amara's heart thumped, a mix of nerves and excitement, Zora's cuff cool against her wrist, her truth her armor. She approached the entrance, her heels clicking, the crowd parting, eyes lingering on her locks, her dress, her tote, some curious, others skeptical. A security guard, badge reading James, checked her invitation, a digital QR code from her submission. "Artist entry," she said, voice steady, handing over her ID. James scanned it, his face neutral, but his eyes flicked to her tote, as if questioning her place. Through the side door, he said, pointing to an alley entrance away from the red carpet. Amara's jaw tightened, but she nodded, used to side doors, galleries, restaurants, life as a black woman in spaces like this. She walked to the alley, her heels echoing, the Gala's hum fading, Zora's voice her guide. Keep going, baby. They can't dim your light. Inside, the gallery was a cathedral of art, white walls, spotlights, paintings and sculptures gleaming, champagne flutes clinking, laughter bright. Guests mingled, collectors in tailored suits, curators in silk scarves, artists in bold prints, their voices a symphony of privilege. Amara scanned for Roots Rising, expecting it among the displayed works, but her canvas wasn't there. Her heart sank, her tote heavy, her eyes finding Evelyn Caldwell near a minimalist sculpture, her silver bob sleek, her black gown flowing, her smile sharp as she chatted with a white artist, his abstract painting lit like a star. Amara approached, her portfolio ready, her voice clear. "Miss Caldwell," she said, extending a hand. "I'm Amara Evans, submitted Roots Rising for the gala." Caldwell turned, her eyes flicking over Amara, locks, dress, tote, a quick appraisal, her smile thinning. "Ms. Evans," she said, shaking Amara's hand briefly, her grip limp. "Yes, I recall your submission. Let's speak privately." She led Amara to a corner, away from the crowd, her heels clicking, her perfume sharp, the gala's hum a distant roar. "Your painting," Caldwell began, her voice low, clipped, while expressive, wasn't suitable for tonight's vision. "It's too bold, too specific. Our collectors prefer universal themes." The words landed like a slap, specific, a code for black, for Harlem, for Amara's truth. Nia's chest tightened, anger flaring, but she kept her composure, Zora's cuff her anchor. "Too bold," she said, voice steady, eyes meeting Caldwell's. "My work's shown in Paris, Lagos, sold for 5 figures. Collectors love it. What's the real issue?" Caldwell's smile faltered, her eyes narrowing, her tone patronizing. "It's not personal, Ms. Evans," she said, folding her arms. "Your style doesn't align with our brand. Perhaps a smaller venue, more community-focused." The word community dripped with dismissal, a polite way to say not here, not us. Amara's heart pounded, her tote heavy, her portfolio a lifeline. "I'd like you to reconsider," she said, opening her bag, pulling out prints of Roots Rising, its colors vivid. "This is my work. It's universal, it's human. Give it a chance." Caldwell glanced at the prints, her lips pursing, her voice cold. "I've made my decision," she said, turning away, dismissing Amara like a nuisance. "Enjoy the gala." She walked off, her gown swishing, rejoining the white artist, her smile bright again, the crowd's laughter swallowing Amara's truth. Amara stood frozen, prints in hand, anger and hurt swirling, the gala's lights harsh, Zora's voice a whisper, "They can't dim your light." She slipped the prints back, her tote heavy, her heels clicking as she left, the side door closing behind her, a plan forming, a fire igniting she wouldn't let die. Amara Evans sat at her Harlem Studios workbench, the morning light streaming through a cracked window, casting shadows across her paints, brushes, and half-finished canvases on June 5, 2025. The studio, a converted loft above a jazz club, smelled of turpentine and coffee, its walls plastered with sketches, photos, and Zora's old fabrics, a tapestry of her life. At 32, Amara's locks were loose, her overalls splattered with ochre and crimson, her deep brown eyes fierce with purpose, her silver cuff bracelet gleaming, a talisman from her grandmother. Her tote bag, heavy with last night's portfolio, sat by the door, a reminder of Evelyn Caldwell's rejection at the Ellison Art Gala, Roots Rising deemed too bold, too specific, a polite dismissal of her blackness, her Harlem truth. But Amara wasn't defeated. She was plotting, her anger a spark, her plan ablaze that would shake the art world's elite. The gala sting lingered, Caldwell's cold smile, the side door, the crowd's oblivious laughter. Amara had walked home, her heels aching, Harlem streets alive with music, vendors, kids, grounding her. She'd called her best friend, Kimmy, a curator in Brooklyn, her voice raw. "They rejected me," Kimmy said. "My work's not universal." Kimmy's laugh was fierce. "Universal means white to them. You're bigger than their gala, Amara. Burn it down." That call, Zora's cuff, her own fire, had birthed a plan, not revenge, but reclamation, a move so bold it would rewrite her story. Amara sipped coffee, her laptop open, emails piling from collectors who'd seen her work in Lagos, Paris, Brooklyn, offering 5 figures for prints, 6 for originals. Her bank account, once threadbare, now held $1.2 million, sales, grants, a residency stipend, investments guided by her cousin, a Wall Street analyst. She'd saved, dreamed of a Harlem gallery, a space for black artists, but last night's rejection shifted her focus. The Ellison Gallery, owned by a real estate firm, was struggling. Rent hikes, low sales, whispers of closure. Amara's plan was audacious. Buy it, own it, remake it, hang roots rising where Caldwell had sneered. She'd claimed the space they denied her, a legacy for Zora, for Harlem, for every artist told they didn't belong. She dialed her cousin, Jamal, his voice crisp over the phone, a broker's confidence. "Amara, you serious?" he asked, paper shuffling. "The Ellisons valued at $3 million, but they're desperate. I can negotiate $2.50, maybe less." Amara grinned, her cuff gleaming, her voice steady. "Do it, Jamal. Liquidate my investments, get a loan if needed. I want it by tomorrow." Jamal laughed, his tone warm. "You're wild, cuz. I'm on it." She hung up, her heart racing, the studio alive with possibility, paints gleaming like allies. Kimmy arrived, her braids swinging, her leather jacket sharp, her eyes glinting with mischief. "You're buying the Ellison?" she said, setting down coffee, scanning Amara's sketches. "That's next level, Amara. Caldwell's gonna choke." Amara laughed, her overalls crinkling, her voice fierce. "Good. They thought they could erase me. I'm taking their space, making it ours." Kimmy nodded, pulling up gallery stats on her phone, exhibitions, revenue, staff. "You'll need a team," she said. "I'm in. Curate, promote, bring Brooklyn's crew. Let's make it black, bold, unapologetic." They clinked mugs, the studio a war room, Zora's cuff a beacon, their plan a revolution. Amara called her lawyer, Aisha, a Harlem native whose firm had handled her contracts. "I'm buying a gallery," Amara said, voice steady, paints drying behind her. Aisha's laugh was warm, her tone sharp. "The Ellison? That's a power move. I'll draft the offer, handle due diligence. You got the funds." Amara confirmed, her laptop glowing with bank statements, Jamal's email pinging, "Offer ready, $2.4 million, closing tomorrow." Aisha whistled, her voice fierce. "You're about to own their world, Amara. I'm proud." Amara hung up, her heart pounding, the studio's hum a battle cry, her plan solidifying. She walked to her easel, roots rising leaning against it, its colors ochre, crimson, gold, a pulse of Harlem's spirit. She traced its beads, its fabric, Zora's voice in her ear. "Paint your truth, baby." Caldwell's rejection, too specific, was a lie, a gatekeeper's fear of her power. Amara would hang this canvas in the Ellison, center stage, where it belonged. She pulled out her phone, texting artists Malik, a sculptor, Tasha, a photographer, Jaden, a muralist, inviting them to join her gallery, a space for black vision, unfiltered, unapologetic. Their replies flooded in. "I'm in. Let's do this." Harlem's rising. The studio glowed, canvases waiting, Amara's fire a beacon. Flashback, Harlem, 2015. Amara, 22, sat in Zora's kitchen, sketching on butcher paper, Zora's hands sewing, her voice rich with stories, Harlem Renaissance, jazz clubs, black artists erased by history. "Your art's a fight, Amara," Zora said, giving her the cuff. "It's silver cool. Don't let them silence you." That day, Amara sold her first painting, a street scene, for $500, vowing to paint for Zora, for Harlem, for truth. Zora's death a year later broke her, but her cuff, her voice, kept Amara painting, her fire unquenched. Amara stood, her overalls stiff, her coffee cold, her plan alive. She called the Ellison's owner, Richard Ellison, a real estate mogul, his voice gruff over the phone. "Ms. Evans," he said, papers rustling. "Your lawyer sent an offer. $2.4 million for the gallery?" Amara nodded, voice steady. "Yes, sir. Cash, closing tomorrow. My team's ready." Ellison paused, his tone wary but intrigued. "That's fast. Why the rush?" Amara smiled, her cuff gleaming, her voice fierce. "I've got a vision, Mr. Ellison. One your Gala didn't see." He laughed, gruff but impressed. "Meet me at 10 a.m., bring your lawyer." She hung up, her heart soaring, the studio a fortress, her plan a rocket ready to launch. Kimmy sketched a layout, roots rising center stage, Malik's sculptures flanking, Tasha's photos on walls, Jaden's mural at the entrance. "This is Harlem's gallery," Kimmy said, eyes glinting. No side doors, no gatekeepers. Amara nodded, her tote by the door, her portfolio ready for tomorrow's meeting, Zora's cuff her shield. The Gala's rejection was fuel, Caldwell's sneer a challenge, her purchase a declaration. Amara Evans wasn't just an artist, she was a force, ready to claim the space they'd denied, to paint her truth where it would burn brightest. The Ellison Gallery's glass facade gleamed under the morning sun on June 6, 2025, its marble steps polished, its red carpet gone, a quiet contrast to last night's gala. Amara Evans stood outside, her locks swept into a high bun, her navy blazer sharp, her silver cuff bracelet catching the light, a talisman from her grandmother, Zora. At 32, Amara's deep brown eyes burned with purpose, her canvas tote replaced by a leather portfolio, her heels steady on the sidewalk. Beside her stood Aisha Williams, her lawyer, a Harlem native in a tailored gray suit, her braids coiled, her briefcase gleaming, her eyes sharp. Kimmy Adebayo, Amara's curator friend, leaned against a street lamp, her leather jacket bold, her phone buzzing with texts from artists ready to join the new gallery. The air was crisp, Manhattan's hum, taxis, pedestrians, coffee carts, a backdrop to a moment that would reshape the art world. Amara was here to buy the Ellison Gallery, to claim the space that had rejected her painting, Roots Rising, as too specific, a move that would turn Evelyn Caldwell's snub into a triumph of black excellence. Inside, Richard Ellison, the gallery's owner, waited in a conference room, his real estate empire fraying under Manhattan's rent hikes. Amara's offer, $2.4 million, cash, closing today, had stunned him, a lifeline he couldn't refuse. Her cousin Jamal, a Wall Street broker, had negotiated fiercely, liquidating Amara's $1.2 million in savings, securing a loan for the rest, papers ready. Aisha had drafted the deal, airtight, her firm's letterhead embossed, her voice fierce. You're buying their world, Amara. Kimmy had rallied artists, sketching a vision, black art, unfiltered, center stage. Amara's heart thumped, Zora's cuff her anchor, her plan ablaze. Own the gallery, hang Roots Rising, make it Harlem's beacon. They entered, the lobby a cathedral of white walls, spotlights dim. Last night's art still hung, minimalist abstracts, pale sculptures, none as vibrant as Roots Rising. A receptionist, young, white, glanced up, her eyes flicking over Amara's blazer, Aisha's suit, Kimmy's jacket, a flicker of surprise. Ms. Evans, she said, voice cautious, gesturing to the conference room. Amara nodded, heels clicking, portfolio in hand, Aisha's briefcase snapping, Kimmy's grin fierce. The receptionist buzzed them in, the door hissing, the Gala's echo Caldwell's sneer, the side door fueling Amara's fire. Richard Ellison, 60, stood, his gray suit rumpled, his face lined, his handshake firm but wary. Ms. Evans, he said, his voice gruff, gesturing to chairs around a glass table, papers spread, deeds, financials, contracts. Evelyn Caldwell sat beside him, her silver bob sleek, her black dress austere, her eyes narrowing as Amara entered, her smile thin, forced. Two associates, white men in suits, flanked them, their laptops open, their faces neutral. The room was sterile, its windows framing Manhattan's skyline, the tension thick, a battleground of power and pride. Mr. Ellison, Amara said, sitting, her voice clear, steady, her portfolio on the table. Thank you for meeting us. My offer stands, $2.4 million, cash, closing today. Aisha slid the contract across, her suit crisp, her eyes sharp, her voice calm but cutting. The terms are clear, she said, opening her briefcase, revealing loan approvals, bank statements. Ms. Evans is prepared to finalize immediately, assuming no issues. Kimmy leaned back, her jacket creaking, her phone silent, her gaze on Caldwell, whose fingers twitched, her composure cracking. Ellison scanned the contract, his eyes flicking to Amara, curiosity mixed with skepticism. That's a bold move, he said, his voice gruff, papers rustling. Why the Ellison? You're young, new to this scale. His tone wasn't hostile, but it probed, testing her resolve. Caldwell leaned forward, her voice low, patronizing. Indeed, she said, her smile cold. The Ellison's brand is selective. Your work, while talented, may not align. Smaller venues might suit. Her words echoed last night's rejection, too specific, a gatekeeper's dismissal, her eyes glinting with challenge. Amara's jaw tightened, but her smile was steady, Zora's cuff her shield. My work sold for 6 figures in Paris, Lagos, Brooklyn, she said, voice clear, opening her portfolio, prints of roots rising vivid, ochre roots, crimson figures, gold skies. Collectors love it. Your brand struggling, sales down 30%, rent overdue. I'm not just buying a gallery. I'm saving it, remaking it for artists like me, erased by your selective vision. Her words landed, Ellison's eyes widening, Caldwell's smile faltering, the associates shifting, laptops forgotten. Aisha leaned in, her voice steel. The offer's fair, she said, sliding financials across. $2.4 million, below market, reflects your liabilities. Ms. Evans's funds are verified, loan secured. Sign today, or we walk, and your creditors close you. Her words were a blade, Ellison's face paling, Caldwell's fingers clenching. The room silent, but for Manhattan's hum outside. Kimmy's grin widened, her eyes on Caldwell, sensing defeat. Ellison exhaled, his hands spreading the contract, his voice low. You've done your homework, he said, glancing at Caldwell, whose silence was a surrender. I'll sign, but I need assurances, staff transitions, lease terms. Aisha nodded, pulling addendums, her pen ready. All addressed, she said, her voice calm, her eyes fierce. Staff can stay, pending review. Lease transfers cleanly. Any concerns? Ellison shook his head, his pen hovering, his eyes on Amara, a flicker of respect breaking his gruff facade. Caldwell stood, her voice sharp, her gown swishing. This is rash, she said, eyes on Ellison. The Ellison's legacy can't be diluted by unproven talent. Her words dripped with bias, and proven, a code for black, for Amara's truth. Amara rose, her blazer sharp, her voice clear. My talent's proven in galleries you'll never curate, she said, prints in hand, roots rising blazing. Your legacy's fading. Mine's just beginning. The room froze, Ellison's pen pausing, Aisha's smile faint, Kimmy's eyes glinting, Caldwell's face reddening, her control shattered. Ellison signed, his pen scratching, the contract sealed, his voice gruff. It's yours, Ms. Evans, he said, standing, his handshake firm. Good luck. Caldwell turned away, her heels clicking, her exit a retreat, the associates packing laptops, their silence a concession. Amara exhaled, her cuff gleaming, her heart soaring, the gallery hers, roots rising destined for its walls, Zora's voice a roar. Paint your truth, baby. Flashback, Harlem, 2018. Amara, 25, stood in her first solo show, a Brooklyn loft, Roots Rising's early sketch on display, collectors bidding. Zora, frail but fierce, held her hand, cuff gleaming, voice soft. You're building a legacy, Amara. Don't stop. That night, Amara sold her piece for $10,000, vowing to honor Zora, to claim space for black art, her fire unquenched. Amara, Aisha, and Kimmy left, the lobby quiet, the receptionist staring, phones buzzing with news. Amara Evans buys Ellison Gallery. Outside, Manhattan sparkled, taxis honking, the gallery hers, a beacon for Harlem, for artists, for truth. Amara's plan wasn't done. She'd hang Roots Rising, open her doors, remake the art world, her fire a legacy no one could dim. The Ellison Gallery, now the Evans Gallery, stood transformed on July 15, 2025, its glass facade gleaming under Harlem's morning sun, its marble steps bustling with artists, curators, and community members. Amara Evans stood inside, her locks loose, her overalls splattered with paint, her silver cuff bracelet catching the light, a talisman from Zora. At 32, her deep brown eyes shone with pride, her hands steady as she directed a team hanging Roots Rising center stage, its 6-foot canvas blazing ochre roots, crimson figures, gold skies, a pulse of Harlem's spirit. The gallery's white walls were alive with black art, Malik's sculptures, Tasha's photos, Jaden's mural at the entrance, a vision Amara had bought 6 weeks ago, turning Evelyn Caldwell's rejection into a triumph. The opening tonight, Harlem Rising, a new vision, was more than a gala, it was a reclamation, a legacy for Zora, for Harlem, for every artist denied a space. Amara's purchase had stunned the art world. The $2.4 million deal, closed June 6th, had trended on X with hashtag Amara owns Ellison, headlines blaring. Black artist buys gallery after gala snub. Caldwell had resigned, her selective vision exposed, her exit quiet but damning. Richard Ellison retired, his empire sold, his legacy fading. Amara's team, Kimmy curating, Aisha handling legal, Jamal managing finances, had worked tirelessly, renovating the gallery, hiring black staff, building a community hub. Artists like Malik, Tasha, and Jaden had flooded in, their works vibrant, unfiltered, a rebuke to the Gala's pale abstracts. Harlem embraced it. Kids sketching on sidewalks, elders sharing stories, the gallery a beacon. Amara stood by Roots Rising, its beads and fabric glinting, her hands tracing its colors, Zora's voice in her ear. Paint your truth, baby. Kimmy approached, her leather jacket swapped for a blazer, her braids coiled, her clipboard full. We're ready, she said, eyes glinting, gesturing to the gallery, lights adjusted, wine chilling, invitations sent to collectors, curators, Harlem's heart. Tonight's ours, Amara. Caldwell's choking somewhere. Amara laughed, her overalls crinkling, her voice fierce. Good. This is Harlem's stage now. The gallery buzzed, staff arranging chairs, a jazz quartet tuning, caterers setting soul food trays, mac and cheese, collards, cornbread. Malik adjusted a sculpture, its bronze curves echoing Roots Rising, his grin wide. Tasha hung photos, her lens capturing Harlem's elders, kids, streets, her eyes misty. Jaden painted a mural, locks, fists, sun, its colors bold, his cap tilted. Harlem residents trickled in, invited free, their voices warm, their pride palpable. This is us, an elder said, touching Roots Rising, her scarf bright, her eyes shining. Amara nodded, her cuff gleaming, her heart full. Aisha arrived, her suit sharp, her briefcase light, her smile fierce. Contracts are signed, she said, handing Amara a folder, artist agreements, grants, a lease extension. You're set for a decade, Amara. Collectors are flying in Tokyo, London, Lagos. Amara grinned, her portfolio now a relic, her vision real. Thanks, Aisha, she said, voice steady. This is just the start. Aisha nodded, her eyes warm, Harlem's daughter proud of another. Jamal called, his voice crisp. Funds cleared, he said, papers rustling. You're debt-free, Amara. Gallery's yours outright. Amara exhaled, her heart soaring. The $2.4 million a gamble, now a victory. You're a genius, cuz, she said, laughing, Zora's cuff her anchor. Jamal chuckled, his tone warm. Nah, you're the visionary. Harlem's shining. The opening neared, guests arriving, collectors in suits, curators in silk, Harlem residents in dashikis, jeans, pride. The jazz quartet played, Coltrane's notes soaring, the gallery alive, its walls a canvas of black excellence. Amara changed, her overalls swapped for a crimson gown, her locks flowing, her cuff gleaming, her eyes fierce. She stood by Roots Rising, its colors a pulse, the crowd swelling, 500 strong, their voices a symphony. Kimmy took the mic, her blazer sharp, her voice clear. Welcome to the Evans Gallery, she said, eyes glinting, the crowd cheering. This is Harlem's vision, Amara Evans's dream, a space for black art, unapologetic, unstoppable. She gestured to Amara, the crowd roaring, phones filming, collectors nodding, elders clapping. Amara stepped forward, her gown flowing, her voice steady, cutting through the noise. Thank you, she said, her eyes sweeping the crowd, landing on Malik, Tasha, Jaden, Harlem's heart. This gallery was theirs, a space that rejected my work, my truth, for being too specific. I bought it to prove them wrong, to hang Roots Rising where it belongs, to make room for us. She gestured to the canvas, its colors blazing, the crowd cheering, some standing, others filming. This is for Harlem, for my grandmother, Zora, for every artist told they don't fit. We're here, we're shining, we're unstoppable. The applause thundered, the quartet swelling, the gallery shaking, a beacon for change. Flashback, Harlem, 2020. Amara, 27, painted in her studio, Zora's cuff on her wrist, her first international sale, a Lagos collector paying $50,000 for a canvas. She'd cried, Zora's voice in her ear. Your art's a fight, baby. That sale funded her residency, her savings, her dream of a gallery, now real, its walls alive with her truth. Collectors bid, Roots Rising sold for $200,000, Malik's sculptures for $50,000, Tasha's photos for $30,000, Jaden's mural commissioned for a museum. Harlem residents danced, kids sketched, elders shared stories, the gallery a home. Amara stood by Roots Rising, her gown crimson, her cuff gleaming, her heart full. The Gala's rejection was dust, Caldwell's sneer a memory, her purchase a legacy, Harlem's gallery, black art stage, a truth no one could dim. The Evans Gallery stood as Harlem's beacon on September 15, 2025, its glass facade glowing under autumn's golden light, its marble steps bustling with kids sketching, artists painting, elders sharing stories. Amara Evans sat in her office, a converted studio overlooking the gallery, her locks loose, her crimson sweater soft, her silver cuff bracelet gleaming, Zora's talisman. At 32, her deep brown eyes held pride, her hands steady on a sketchpad, her desk piled with grants, contracts, letters from young artists inspired by her triumph. The gallery, bought 3 months ago after Evelyn Caldwell's rejection of Roots Rising, was now a cultural hub, its walls alive with black art, Malik's sculptures, Tasha's photos, Jaden's murals, Roots Rising center stage, its ochre roots, crimson figures. Gold skies a pulse of Harlem's spirit. Tonight's event, a youth art workshop, was one of many, a legacy for Zora, for Harlem, for every artist denied. Amara's fire had turned a Gala's snub into a revolution, her purchase a truth that shone brighter than Manhattan's skyline. The gallery's opening, Harlem Rising, had stunned the art world, trending on X with hashtag Evans Gallery, headlines blaring. Black artist remakes Ellison after rejection. Collectors from Tokyo, London, Lagos bid millions, Roots Rising sold for $200,000, funding scholarships, workshops, a black youth center. Caldwell's resignation, Ellison's retirement, the precinct's reform sparked by Amara's stop, faded, replaced by her vision, a gallery for black excellence, no side doors, no gatekeepers. Kimmy curated, Aisha managed legal, Jamal handled finances, Harlem embraced it. Kids painting murals, elders teaching history, artists thriving, the gallery a home. Amara stood, her sweater soft, her sketchpad open, a new canvas forming, Harlem's kids, their eyes bright, their hands painting futures. She walked to the gallery, its walls vibrant, Roots Rising gleaming, visitors, tourists, collectors, residents, mingling, jazz drifting from speakers, soul food trays empty. Malik adjusted a sculpture, his bronze curves echoing Harlem's strength, his grin wide. Tasha hung new photos, her lens capturing kids' laughter, her eyes misty. Jaden touched his mural, its locks and fist bold, his cap tilted. A kid, 12, sketched beside Roots Rising, her pencil dancing, her mother nodding, pride shining. "This is us," the mother said, her scarf bright, her voice warm. Amara smiled, her cuff gleaming, her heart full. Kimmy approached, her blazer swapped for a dashiki, her braids coiled, her clipboard light. "Workshop's ready," she said, eyes glinting, gesturing to a room of canvases, paints, kids waiting. "You're changing lives, Amara." Amara nodded, her voice soft. "We're doing it together, Kimmy. Harlem's rising." Kimmy grinned, her phone buzzing, collectors offering millions, museums requesting loans, artists begging to show. The gallery was a fortress, its art a weapon, its truth unstoppable. Aisha called, her voice crisp. "Grants came through," she said, papers rustling. $500,000 for youth programs, $1 million for a satellite gallery in Brooklyn. Amara's eyes widened, her heart soaring. Zora's cuff her anchor. "That's huge, Aisha," she said, laughing. "We're building an empire." Aisha chuckled, her tone warm. "You started it, Amara. Harlem's proud." Jamal texted, his voice steady. "Satellite gallery deal closed. $1.5 million. Brooklyn's yours." Amara grinned, her sketchpad glowing. Her vision expanding, galleries in Chicago, Lagos, Paris, black art everywhere. She walked to the workshop, kids painting, their hands messy, their laughter bright. "Ms. Amara," a girl shouted, her canvas bold, her eyes wide. "I want to be like you." Amara knelt, her cuff gleaming, her voice soft. "You're already you, baby. Paint your truth." The girl beamed, her brush dancing, Amara's heart full. Flashback, Harlem, 2013. Amara, 20, painted in Zora's backyard, her canvas small, her colors bold, Zora's voice rich. "Your art's a fight, baby. Don't let them silence you." A neighbor bought her sketch for $50, her first sale, sparking her dream, a gallery for Harlem, for black artists, for truth. Zora's cuff, given that day, carried her through, its silver her shield, her fire her legacy. Tonight, Amara spoke to the kids, her gown crimson, her locks flowing, her cuff gleaming. "This gallery's yours," she said, eyes sweeping their faces, landing on the girl's canvas. "Your art, your truth, belongs here. Don't let anyone dim your light." The kids cheered, parents clapping, cameras filming, Harlem's heart alive. Collectors bid, artists showed, elders taught, the gallery a beacon, its legacy growing, scholarships, workshops, galleries worldwide. Amara stood by Roots Rising, its colors a pulse, Harlem's streets outside alive, jazz, laughter, kids. The Gala's rejection was dust, Caldwell's sneer a memory, her purchase a truth. Amara Evans wasn't just an artist, she was a force. Proving worth isn't a canvas, a gala, or a gatekeeper. It's the fire you paint when the world tries to dim you. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to know what true strength looks like. Join us at Narratives of Black Struggles for more stories that shine a light on resilience and justice.